Hi, I'm Richie, and I'm here to teach you how to simplify trigonometric identities. Here are some strategies that you need to know how to use before simplifying the identities. Number one, you have to use the Pythagorean identities. Number two, you have to know how to factor. Number three, you have to know how to use fractional algebra. Number four, you need to know how to multiply by conjugates to create expressions that simplify using Pythagorean identities. And lastly, you need to know how to convert to sine and cosine. So let's get into some examples. Alright, so simplifying trig expressions. Number one, as you can see, it says cotangent x times sine x. Cotangent, to simplify, cotangent x breaks down into cosine over sine x, and then from then on you just cancel out sine x, and then you're left with cosine x over 1, and therefore cotangent x sine x equals cosine x. And the second one, cosecant x equals secant x. So cosecant x is 1 over sine x all over 1 over cosine x. So as you can see over here, 1 over sine x times cosine over x is cosine x over sine x, which is cotangent x. So therefore cosecant x over secant x is cotangent x. Alright, in this example it says secant squared x minus 2 squared x all over sine x. Secant squared x minus tangent squared x is one of the Pythagorean identities, which equals 1. So that's why it's 1 over sine x, and 1 over sine x is cosecant x. So therefore secant x squared, or secant squared x minus tangent squared x all over sine squared x equals cosecant squared x, or cosecant x, sorry. And the next example, secant squared x times tangent squared x minus tangent squared x. You can take out a tangent squared x because of the minus, and these two are together, and then this is by itself. Since that, you can take this out on from both, and then you're left with secant squared x minus 1, which is tangent x. So that being said, if this is tangent x, then you can just multiply tangent squared x back in. So therefore secant squared x tangent squared x minus tangent squared x equals tangent cubed x. Now in this example it says simplify sine theta all over 1 plus cosine theta plus cosine theta all over sine theta. And take note that a over b plus c over d equals ad plus cb all over bd. So that being said, it's just like cross multiplication in a way. You just have to, it's a little bit more complex. So I did that, and I got sine theta times sine theta plus cosine theta times 1 plus cosine theta all over 1 plus cosine theta times sine theta. So these two, you can just multiply them together, which is sine squared theta, and you can just distribute cosine theta into both of those, so you get cosine squared theta plus cosine theta all over 1 plus cosine theta times sine theta. This is continued on to the next page. So you're left with that, and sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is another Pythagorean theorem which equals 1, and that's where I got this from on the next. So 1 plus cosine theta all over 1 plus cosine theta times sine theta, and since these are the same from right here to right here, you can just cancel both of them out, and you're left with 1 over sine theta. And 1 over sine theta is cosecant theta, and therefore sine theta all over 1 plus cosine theta plus cosine theta all over sine theta equals cosecant theta. And that is it.